Behind me, I have the brand new 2022 Infraredi Flex Max red light therapy panel. In this video, I'm going to be testing it, sharing my thoughts, doing some experiments with it, comparing it to other panels, and helping you make an informed decision when it comes to buying a red light therapy light. Let's get into it. Hey guys, it's Alex here from alexfergus.com, and behind me I have the brand new Infraredi Flex Max. This is the 2022 version, the latest gen red light therapy panel from Infraredi. I know there's been a lot of anticipation and hype around this panel. I know a lot of you people have been asking when I'm going to review it. Well, here it is. Finally, I'm testing it, doing all that cool stuff. I'm excited myself because Infraredi, with their previous generation panel, the 2021 Max, placed third out of 12 panels in my red light therapy comparison series. Third place was very impressive. I mean, big companies such as the Juve Solo and some other big names that have been in the space for a while. So this panel here is meant to be better than that 2021 panel. So I'm excited to see if it is better, how it's better, how it performs, and of course what has changed. So we're gonna cover a lot of things, all those things I just mentioned, plus I'll follow my usual red light therapy panel review template. We'll do some EMF testing, test the radiance, compare it to some other products, not only within the Infraredi product line, but some of its competitors as well. So first things first, what do you need to know about the new version? Well, I will be doing a separate little standalone video where I compare the 2022 version with the 2021 version. So be sure to subscribe, check out the links below, because that will do a direct comparison. But in a nutshell, this panel here has been totally redesigned from the ground up. Some of the big new changes include more power. I'll be testing this myself to see how much more power we're getting. This new panel now utilizes multi-wave technology. There's 5 different wavelengths embedded in this panel, which is very cool and a big plus and improvement on the previous generation's panel. We have a new and improved control panel, which we'll look at soon. We've got a few accessories such as a remote that's also included with it. We also have the ability to customize pulsing rate on the panel, which is still something that I'm trying to get my head around, and whether it is a big selling point or more of a gimmick, I still don't know. But some people are attracted to it, and this particular panel has the ability to do that. And you can set the pulsing rate from anything from 0 Hertz or 1 Hertz all the way through to 10,000, which is pretty cool. We have seen that before with the light path LED panels. So it is nice to have that option if you want that. Okay, so how much does the Infraredi Flex Max cost? Well, it currently retails for $949. That was over at infraredi.com. I don't know if that's a special or not, or if that's going to be the regular price, but we're seeing a lot of price increases across the board with all companies these days, all products in general. So if you're watching this later on in the year or in another year, 2023 or beyond, that price may have changed, but at the time of filming, it's $949. What's also cool is they've shared a discount code. That code is ALEX, A-L-E-X. That will save 5% off the price. That means you can get this panel here for $902, which is pretty good for a top of the range new generation red light therapy panel. Even better than that though, they do free shipping, so you can get it shipped to your door for $902, which is pretty neat. Okay, so now let's move on to the panel itself. Now, the new Flex range, Infraredi have 3 different panels. They've got their Max, which of course is what's behind me. They've got their Mid, and then their Mini. I've also picked up their Mini, the tabletop device. I'll be doing a full review on that, so be sure to subscribe if you want to check that out. The Mini is obviously the smallest panel with 60 LEDs. The Mid, 120 LEDs, and the Max, what I have behind me here, has 240 LEDs. So with 240 LEDs, this puts it into the body panel class that I tend to use in my reviews. Yes, it is still a full-size panel, and it looks rather large when you see it in full. You can see how tall it is here, but it is a little bit smaller from an LED point of view compared to some of its competitors. The height of this new panel is 39 inches. It's 8.2 inches across and 2.5 inches thick. Pretty much your standard thickness. The width, it is a little bit narrower than some panels. You know, for instance, the Max 900, which does come out a full foot, so that's 4 inches wider. It is reasonably tall. It would have been cool if they did come out with a 300 LED panel. I think that would have been really neat. You can actually go in onto the Infraredi website and buy their 300 LED bundle, which is actually one of these with a mini attached to it. Now that would bring out, that would create a panel of 300 LEDs. Of course, it's 2 different panels. Actually, because I have the mini, if that's a review you'd like me to do with the Max and the mini as a 300 LED panel and compare it to, say, your Max 900s, let me know below, and I can look at doing that later on. Weight wise, it comes in at 22 pounds. So it is a solid panel, but nothing crazy. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 fans on the back, and we also have this nice little handhold up the top, which I love. You know, I'm moving and lifting and carrying these panels all the time, so honestly, when I pick an old panel up now that doesn't have one of these, I'm always like, oh. You've got the power switch up the top, which I think is good. Nice and easy to access. And you'll notice here the power plugs are also quite high. Personally, I'd prefer them at the bottom because if you saw in the shop before, you have the cord coming out the side. It just looks a bit ugly. So that is a bit of a bummer. Would have been nicer to see that on the bottom. This is modular capable. So you can get more panels and clip them together, like I said earlier with the mini. You've got some cable attachments at the top with a door hanging hook and a pulley system, so you can, you know, all that sort of standard stuff we see with all the panels these days. On the side, you've got some ear vents, quite a unique design. I haven't seen that before. There's no real branding other than on the control panel. Now, when we come and look at the control panel, you'll see that it's reasonably basic until you fire it up, and we're seeing a little bit more data on there. We'll have a closer look at the control panel later. All right, what about included accessories? Well, first things first, when you order an Infraredi Max, you get the option to choose between a door hook or pay $100 extra and get a floor stand. Now, the floor stand, I don't have one, but it's similar to the Juve boot, the floor boot, and you just slot the panel into that boot and you can sit it or stand it anywhere in the room without having to lean it against something. Like I said, it is $100 extra. If you don't get that with your initial order and then later on you want to purchase it, you can do that. Speaking of stands, Infraredi do sell a horizontal and a vertical stand. They are $400, a little bit more expensive than some of their competitors. I haven't used them though, so I can't really comment on them. Okay, so now it's time to look at the accessories included with the panel. Like I said earlier, it comes with the steel cable that I've attached to the top here. The door hanging hook, nothing new there. We have a power cable, which came in my local New Zealand plug, so that is great. Another power cable, a booster cable, so if you want to connect another panel up, you use this cable. We have the pulley system, which is the smaller 1/8, which is a bit of a bummer. I like the bigger, meatier ones. They're just easy to use and a bit stronger. So you can put that on a hook and raise or lower the height. I've done a video on that if you want to see more about that. And these green lens glasses, which do a good job of blocking the red light out, but you can still see and read a book. And then finally we have this printed guide here, a gloss design. This is for the entire Flex series. So whether you get the small one or the mid or the max, you get the same booklet. It tells you a little bit how it works, the benefits, what to be wary of, treatment recommendations. There's a few specs in here. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is look at the power and performance of this panel. We're gonna fire up my spectrometer, fire up the Infraredi Max. I'm going to take some readings at 6 inches. We're going to get total peak irradiance plus total wattage output. We're also going to test what wavelengths are being emitted from this panel. Now, I haven't touched on wavelengths yet. As I said earlier, it does use multi-wave technology. There are 5 wavelengths being emitted from this panel. Those wavelengths are 630 nanometers, 660 nanometers, they're your 2 red lights, 810, 830, 850. Now the breakdown is 25% going to 630, 25% going to 660. So 50% is going to the red light and then 50% is going to the near infrared light, which is split 16 or 17% across those three. So it's reasonably unique blend. They're the same 5 wavelengths that the Platinum LED Biomax range uses. However, if you're familiar with the Biomax range, 80% of their light is going to the 660 and 850, whereas this one only 30 or 40% is going to those 2 traditional wavelengths. Compare it to, say, the Mito Red, Mito Pro. They only have 4 wavelengths. They don't use 810, but you've got an even split, 25% going to each. So yeah, I think it's it's interesting. It's a good way to do it. Oh, and one other thing, it also comes with this new remote. I haven't seen this design before, so it's pretty cool. Unfortunately, I don't have the right battery for it, so I can't test it out. But it has the same buttons that we see on the control panel, so I don't think it's going to do anything more than what you can do on there. Just, you can do it remotely. Okay, yes, I can confirm that there are 5 wavelengths in this panel, which is great. 4 out of 5 of those wavelengths tested as marketed, so you know, the nanometers I tested were pretty much bang on what was on the box, so to speak. However, one wavelength, the 630, actually has a peak of about 643. So this is the data I got. So you can see there, it says peak NM nanometers, and you're seeing 643.8. Now you might notice that the data here is, the graph is a little bit slanted and it's quite wide. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to where 630 is. Okay, so there's a very fine red line on the side of that that peak there. So that little line is the mark for 631. So that's a line that I've put there. That's where 630 is. The main peak of that graph is 640. So what that means is, yes, you're getting 630 nanometer light. You're actually getting a decent amount of it, but you're actually getting a lot more 640 nanometer light. And the peak is at 640 instead of 630. Now, is this a problem or anything like that? Is it misleading? Well, no. I mean, as we just saw, yes, you're still getting a ton of therapeutic light at 630. However, you know, they could easily market this as a 640 nanometer light. I mean, this is an interesting topic, and I've said it before. Technically, you could market it as having 630 through to 640, you know, a range, because that's exactly what you're getting. So, you know, one minor little discrepancy there. I mean, again, if there was only a little bit of energy coming out at 630, I'd be, you know, quite critical here. But because we're still getting 630, you're just getting a bit more 640. It's not like, I mean, some people would say that's a bonus. You're getting 630 and 640 and everything in between. Anyway, now I'm going to go test the power irradiance figures. Okay, cool. The numbers are in. So yes, there is more power in this panel compared to last year's, the 2021 Infraredi Max. However, it's not a massive jump. So last year I had a peak power reading of 77 milliwatts over centimeter squared. This year with the Flex Infraredi Max, we had a peak of 85. So yeah, I mean 76 to 85, I guess that is a big jump. That is just peak though, that's the highest reading I could find. Now, when I did the average over 9, previously there was a figure of 65. This panel, we had a figure of 67. So yeah, a slight improvement there. And by the way, I should mention, these figures are pretty good. I mean, the Infraredi got 3rd last year overall, right? It's a good, powerful unit, right? So this has got even more advanced, more powerful than the Infraredi 2021. So all good there. To put things in perspective, a peak power figure of 85 milliwatts over centimeter squared. There's only 2, maybe 3 panels that are more powerful than that. So this is, it's up there in terms of power. So I'm not trying to discredit it or anything like that. And this one is more powerful than the previous generation one as well. Okay, so all good. So now total power output was 103 watts. Now what's interesting is the 2nd gen panel from last year had a total power wattage figure of 97. They had a few less LEDs though as well. So 103 watts, that puts it on comparison with the Biomax 600, for instance, and not quite up there with the Biomax 900 or the Mito Pro 1500, because they are larger panels. But overall, all good figures there. There was no flicker, which is kind of the norm these days. The EMF There was a little bit of EMF as I got closer. I haven't been spending too much time on EMF readings lately because, well, actually my unit went belly up for a while, so I just stopped testing it, and people weren't really asking about it. So I just don't know if people care much about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts, or if the panels these days are all so good that it's just not even worth mentioning it. So let me know what your thoughts are and whether I should continue testing for EMF. When I do my big comparison series, whenever I do the next one of those, I will be testing EMF and doing it in the same environment, you know, so I get nice or control the variables, so to speak. But yeah, there was nothing concerning here. It was just when you get towards the 3-inch mark and closer to the panel, there was a little bit of movement, but hey, it's honestly, it's not of any concern. Okay, now we have all these metrics. I can actually do some value calculations. Now the dollar per LED works out to be $3.76, which is really good. The dollar per wattage output was $8.75, which is also really good. Anything under 10 is like exceptional, you know, the best of the best. There are some panels that have come in, you know, lower than this particular figure, but you know, you're talking maybe $20 difference type thing. What is interesting though, this figure was slightly higher than the previous generation panel. Maybe the price has gone up, costs and all that sort of stuff, inflation, I'm not too sure, but hey, still exceptional value. Okay, now I want to move on to operations. What we'll do is we'll pull the camera around and have a look at the control screen. You've seen already the power plug goes in at the back, and you can see why I don't like the high ones. If this was my permanent setup, I'd actually get an extension cord, run that along the floor, and then have the black cable going straight down. I was actually going to do that anyway, so it would look tidier, but I thought, no, you know what, I'll leave it as is, because you know, this may influence your buying option, decision-making process, so to speak. But again, it's why I'd much prefer the power point down here. The controls all up high, but the actual plug down the bottom. Anyway, that is what it is. So that's gone in. There's a master switch on the back. I've turned that on. Now come around and we'll see how it works on the control screen. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got a little bit of a screen and the Infraredi logo. 4 buttons: set, plus, minus, and start or play. So I'll turn the main switch on. Comes to life. Defaults to 10 minutes. Now I hope you can see this. Let's come in a little bit more. But down the bottom here, we have some text. Now it reads red, NIR, near infrared, 100% null. Now what this means is in the current option, if I press play or start, it's going to run for 10 minutes. We have both red light enabled, near infrared light enabled, and 100% intensity. I'll touch on this, we'll come back to this soon. And then null is, there's no pulsing, no flicker. So I'll hit start, and away you go, okay? Timer counts down, and all pretty straightforward. When I hit stop, the timer stops, which is nice. I tested a panel not long ago. You'd hit stop and the timer kept going, which I thought was a bit of a silly move. Now, to change these settings, you use the set button here. So I'll press set. Well, for some reason it started again. I don't really want it to start. Okay, it's going to start. Anyway, so I'll go into set and it turns the lights on, which is a bit annoying. Now I can change the timer, plus and minus. Now I don't even know if you can see the screen now, but plus and minus changes the timer. You know what? There we go. I'll just leave it on the infrared so you can see this. Okay, so set changes between what option you want. So timer, you can go all the way up to 30 minutes. You press set again, you go down to mode. So at the moment it's near infrared, only the near infrared LEDs are going. So press plus, we're in red and near infrared, plus again, red only, plus again, near infrared. Go down to brightness. This is the dimmer mode that you may have seen on the website. Dimmer plus, they call it. Okay, so it times out pretty quick. So this is simply the intensity. All right, we've seen this before on the Platinum LED range, the Bimax range. They use this touchscreen slider system, which is really nice, you know, and you can change the brightness or intensity in both the red and the near infrared lights. Here with Infraredi, you can do the brightness, but it's going to change all of the LEDs. So at the moment only you have near infrared, so obviously the percentage will be for the near infrared lights. If I had red and near infrared, both of them would change. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I like that in case you're going to do an extended period, extended session, maybe a lot of stretching or meditation, and you don't want like the full dose, you know, you want it spread over an hour, so you can drop the intensity. There is a bit of a screeching sound there as I drop the brightness down, but it seems to die off. So yeah, that's kind of cool. People could also use it for like ambient mode. You know, you put it in your red light and you put the brightness right down. So there's just a nice little background glow, and I like that you can go down to 1%. I think Juve had this feature, but it was set to like 25% minimum, which is still quite bright. Plus it also means your energy bill isn't going to be as crazy. Now, finally we have frequency, which is your pulsing. So at the moment it's set to null, so there's no pulsing. Like I said earlier, you can change this between 1 Hertz all the way to 10,000. Now, to change the hertz, it's literally using the plus and minuses, and I first thought, are you serious? Like, am I going to have to select this all the way through to 5,000 or whatever? Fortunately, you can hold it down, and it does go reasonably quick. So 9,900, and then it starts skipping in 100 blocks. So we're already at 7,000, 6,000, 5,000, 4,000, 3,000. Yeah, so I'm now pulsing at 3,698 hertz. Kind of crazy, right? And then once you save those settings, or it times out like it keeps doing here, goes back to the screen. We've got 27 minutes on the timer. We've got red light only. We've got 1% brightness at 3,698 hertz. That's how it's programmed. I hit start, and away we go. So yeah, the frequency bit, I mean, it does work all right. I mean, because it changes so fast, yeah, it's workable. I can't remember, LightPath LED had a similar system, 0 to 10,000. I think the same thing with them, you had to use plus or minuses, but they also had some preset like programmed button frequencies, so you could just say, you know, I want that one, and hit that button and default it, which would be cool to have. But hey, look, it gives the user the options, doesn't it? You can select what you want. I'd say most people don't use the brightness feature or the frequency. You're just going to use both lights going 100%. I know that's how I use most of my sessions. But for those that do want to geek out, I mean, it's cool that we've got those options. Okay, so how does the Infraredi Flex Max compare with other products? Firstly, we'll look at other products within the Infraredi line. Now, you can go smaller. Like I said at the start, they've got a Flex Mini, the small one, a Mid with 120 LEDs, or the Max with 240. So you could go smaller and get the Mid. It's half the size, but you're still paying $750, so it's not half the price, is it? So from a bang for your buck point of view, you're better off getting this one. And to be honest, I don't know how many people would go with that Mid, because if you want something small, you'll get the Mini. If you want as big as possible, you get the Max. If you want to go larger, this is the largest one they sell. However, you can get their bundle option. So for instance, you can get the Flex Max plus the Flex Mini. That would be a total of 300 LEDs. You could put the Mini, you know, on top or underneath or on the side, whatever. And that will cost you $1,400. Remember, you can use discount code Alex to save on these prices. So that gives you an extra foot of height, which would be good. Of course, you could also get the bundle with the Max and a Mid, or you could get a couple of these. It's entirely up to you, you know, depending on your budget and what you want to build. It is a little bit narrow. You know, if you're someone like me wanting to use this on my back, like I'm probably going to have to do 2 sessions, you know, one each side. As we are now, I have discovered that the light does stay rather focused in front of the panel. So yeah, you would have to do this half and then this half. So you might, for instance, want to buy 2 of these and put them side by side. It's where panels like the Bimax 900, you know, the extra width are quite valuable. Or you go all out and you get a couple of those panels and you have a quad set up, and yeah, but anyway, that's starting to cost a lot of money. All right, so what about competitors' products, other panels from other companies similar to this? So let's run through a few options. Firstly, remember that the new Infraredi Flex has multi-wave technology. There's 5 wavelengths being emitted from this panel. It's got pulsing options, which is pretty cool. It's got the modular capability. It's got an okay control panel. It's got a good price. So it's going to give some of these competitors a run for their money. That is for sure. So let's compare it with Juve first. Now the Juve Solo panel is a lot more expensive. It's like $700 more than this, plus your taxes, plus shipping on top. You may end up spending an extra $1,000 to get a Juve Solo. The Juve Solo only has 150 LEDs, I believe it is, so it's smaller than this, 240. It is a nice panel. It's a plastic one, a little bit easier to move and stuff. It's got an app and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, you spend a lot more money and you're getting less LEDs. It does have pulsing, but only at 10 hertz. And the Juve Solo back in, when I did my last comparison, placed 7th. Remember the Infraredi previous Gen 1 placed 3rd. So, you know, this is a better panel, and it's going to be true for the Juve versus the Infraredi Flex. Okay, so what about the MitoRed Mito Pro 1500? Now, this is one of the most popular panels that I see people buying, that and the Biomax panels. The Mito Pro 1500 is a little bit more expensive than this. This is $900 after discount code Alex. The Mito Pro is $1,000 after discount code Alex. But for that extra $100, you're getting 60 more LEDs. So you're actually getting a larger panel. You are going to get more watts as well. Remember, the total watts from this was 103. The Mito Pro was 130. So you're getting more light on the body, right? Which is what you want for $100. It's a big jump up. The Mito Pro does have multi-wave LEDs. However, there's only 4 LEDs. This one, 4 different wavelengths. This one has 5, so that is a bit of a win here. The Mito Pro doesn't have 810 nanometers, which is what this one does have. And the Mito Pro doesn't have pulsing. This one does. So yeah, I mean, it really comes down to what you want. Is there a specific wavelength you want? Do you want that pulsing option? Lots of things to consider. But if you're looking at this, you should look at the Mito Pro, and vice versa. And then finally, we have the Platinum LED Biomax range. Now, the Biomax is my go-to panel. I mean, it's what I personally use for most of my sessions. It's what I have set up in my gym. Now, the 900, they have the 900, which is 300 LEDs, so larger than this, and they have a 600, which is 200 LEDs, which is smaller than this. So there's no panel that's the same size as this, so you got to look at both options. The 900, like the Mito Pro 1500, is $100 more than this, but you are getting more LEDs. They have 5 wavelengths, so you're getting the 810 that's also in this, but you get a lot less energy in those non-traditional wavelengths. So do you want more of your 660 and 850? Then Platinum LED is what you want. Do you want more of those new up and coming alternative wavelengths, as I've referred to them as? Then maybe the Infraredi's you. The big downside when you're comparing the Infraredi with all these other panels, you've only got 240 LEDs here, right? Whereas with these other body panels you can get from Biomax, from Platinum LED and MitoRed and some other companies out there, you can get 300 LEDs. I mean, if this came out with 300 LEDs and was $100 or $200 more expensive, yeah, I mean, it would be really good. Like a hard decision between Biomax 900, Mito Pro 1500 and this. Because it's a bit smaller, if you're just getting one panel, you just want one panel to hang on the back of your door or something, right? You really want the biggest panel you can get. Now, that's not saying this is a bad panel, because it's not. There's tons of power. You've got the pulsing, you've got 5 wavelengths now, you've got all your accessories that you would expect. Exceptional price, great value and all that. But yeah, it's just one little thing you might be like, oh, well, for $100 more, I get 60 more LEDs and 30 more watts of light. $100 more, you're getting 30% more energy if you're comparing it to the Mito Pro, for instance. So, hey, end of the day, I'm just trying to provide the facts and help you make an informed decision, right? All right, so we've come to the end of this video. What I'll do now is my concluding thoughts, wrap it up, and leave you guys to make your decision. Now, like I just touched on, it is a good panel. There's plenty of power. Feature-wise, it's packed full of good features. Your pulsing, the dimmer ability, the dimmer plus as they call it, that's really cool. We've only seen that in a few panels before, and it is a nice little feature. It's easy to set up, the carry handle, comes with the door hook, $100 extra for that floor stand if you want it, all good stuff. The 5 wavelengths, great as well. You got the 810s in there, a good mix of light as well. I think that's really good. Exceptional price, free shipping, you can't beat them. If I'm going to be picky, I could say the control panel could be better. It's, changing between those pulsing rates and stuff, it's a little bit, I don't know. I mean, I guess because most of the time I'm using a Platinum LED Biomax with a touchscreen and it just works really nice. I guess I'm kind of lucky in that sense. I'm always comparing it to panels to that. But then that's what you want, right? You want to know how products compare with better products. I mean, so you want to see where they sit, and if there's something better out there, a better feature, you want to know about that. So look, the control panel works. It's just that it could potentially be better, is what I'm saying. And I'm nitpicking here. Like, I'm not going to say don't buy it because it takes a while to change the pulsing rate. Like I said earlier, I still don't know much about the pulsing. It's not something I use, so hey, it may take a while to change the pulsing, but I don't really use it, so it doesn't really bother me. The size, I mean, it does look a little bit narrower compared to some of the wider panels we're seeing today, and I like that move we're seeing in the industry where they're going wider and not too long. You know, they're a little bit stubbier. However, I spoke to the guys at Infraredi because their Mitre Pro 1500 is even taller than this, and they said, yeah, but the whole idea with their setup is you're getting like, well, chest to knee sort of coverage with one panel, and then if you want to get a second one, you've got the width. So it really comes down to what you're trying to do and you're trying to achieve. Are you an athlete trying to get as much, you know, coverage as possible? Are you someone who just wants to target your knees because you've got dodgy knees? Then, you know, all of these things will come into your decision-making process. There's no right or wrong. I'm not going to say this is bad because it's this shape. No, this could be perfect for someone. It's entirely up to you and your situation. Of course, it is modular capability, so you could grab another one of these or one of the smaller ones, clip them on, and you've got more height, or have two side by side and do it that way. Yeah. So look, I could go on and on, but tell you what, if you have any questions or need some help, just leave them below, and I'll do my best to help you. Be sure to check out all my other reviews. I will do some comparison videos with this and the Mitre Red and the Platinum and maybe the Juve. If you want to see my review of the Infraredi Flex Mini, be sure to subscribe because I'll be filming that soon as well. And I will be doing a big comparison series again, so whenever that gets done, maybe next year, yeah, be sure to hang around for that. If you do want to buy this, I'll put links below. Be sure to use discount code ALEX. It will save you 5% on what is an already good price. I've got to give Infraredi that. The price is quite amazing, plus they're doing free shipping. I don't know how long that will last because, yeah, I mean, that's quite extraordinary, really. So good on Infraredi. So yeah, I mean, you're getting great value, great panel. It's going to do everything you want it to do. Plus you've got those advanced features like your dimming, you've got the pulsing, you've got the little remote, all cool stuff. So I'm going to leave it there. If you've enjoyed this, thumbs up. Like I said before, if you've got any questions, leave them below. All right, guys, bye.